The Mystery of Melchizedek, the King and Priest Without Genealogy. Part 1. The hook, sowing the seed of mystery. Beneath the flickering glow of a single candle, as shadows dance upon ancient scrolls, we delve into a profound enigma, a figure who emerges from the mists of antiquity with startling abruptness and then vanishes just as swiftly. His name echoes through millennia, a whisper of a forgotten truth: Melchizedek. Who was this mysterious king of righteousness, this priest of the Most High God, who appears without lineage, without father or mother, without beginning of days or end of life? His sudden appearance in the patriarchal narrative, his unique blessing of Abraham, and his cryptic significance to later biblical theology challenge our understanding of covenant, priesthood, and even the very nature of divine intervention. Tonight, we embark on a journey to unravel the enduring mystery of Melchizedek, a figure whose brief but monumental presence forever altered the course of sacred history and continues to illuminate the deeper truths of our faith. Part 2. The Journey of Deep Discovery. The historical and cultural tapestry. To truly appreciate the sudden brilliance of Melchizedek, we must first immerse ourselves in the rugged landscape of his time. We find ourselves in Genesis 14, in the aftermath of a brutal regional conflict, the War of the Kings. Abraham, then Abram, has just returned victorious from rescuing his nephew Lot, having pursued a coalition of Mesopotamian kings who had plundered Sodom and Gomorrah. This was a brutal, tribal world where might made right and alliances were forged in blood. Kings ruled their city-states with absolute authority, often combining political and religious functions. Priests, typically tied to specific cults or family lines, mediated between humanity and the pantheon of local deities. It is into this tumultuous setting that two figures emerge to greet the victorious Abram, the king of Sodom, representing the fallen world, and then, strikingly, Melchizedek, king of Salem. Salem, later identified with Jerusalem, was a strategic and ancient city. The name Melchizedek itself is profoundly significant, meaning "my king is righteousness." His title, King of Salem, translates to King of Peace. Thus, he embodies both righteousness and peace in a world dominated by conflict and injustice. He is not merely a local potentate, but a figure whose very name and domain prefigure a divine order. He appears as a beacon, a prophetic foreshadowing in a moment of great triumph for Abram, setting the stage for a covenant of far greater significance than any earthly alliance. Decoding the sacred text, a glimpse into Genesis and Hebrews. The biblical narrative introduces Melchizedek with striking brevity yet profound implication. Genesis 14:18-20 states, "Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High, and he blessed Abram, saying, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abram gave him a tenth of everything." Several key elements leap from these verses. First, Melchizedek is explicitly identified as priest of God Most High, El Elyon. This is not a priest of a local pagan deity, but of the supreme, universal God, the Creator. This immediately sets him apart from any contemporary priesthood. Second, he offers bread and wine, elements that resonate profoundly with later covenantal acts, particularly in Christian theology. Third, he blesses Abram. In ancient Near Eastern culture, the one who blesses is superior to the one who is blessed. This establishes Melchizedek's authority over Abram, the very patriarch through whom God's chosen people would descend. Finally, Abram gives him a tithe, a tenth of his spoils. This act of giving homage further acknowledges Melchizedek's superior status and priestly authority. However, the true theological depth of Melchizedek is fully unveiled in the book of Hebrews, particularly chapters 5, 6, and 7. The author of Hebrews develops a meticulous argument, drawing heavily on Psalm 110, 4. The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever, in the order of Melchizedek. This psalm, attributed to David, prophesies a future king-priest who will not be from the Levitical line. Hebrews 7:1-3 presents the most detailed exposition. This Melchizedek was king of Salem and priest of God Most High. He met Abraham returning from the defeat of the kings and blessed him, and Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. First, the name Melchizedek means king of righteousness. Then also, king of Salem means king of peace. Without father or mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days or end of life, resembling the Son of God, he remains a priest forever. Here, the author emphasizes Melchizedek's unique characteristics. Without father or mother, without genealogy. This is not necessarily a claim of anachronistic existence, but a theological statement about his recorded lineage. Unlike Levitical priests, whose authority depended entirely on their ancestry, Melchizedek's priesthood is not bound by human descent, without beginning of days or end of life. Again, a theological rather than a biological assertion. His priesthood is not subject to the limitations of human life and death, implying its eternal nature. Resembling the Son of God, this is the pivotal connection. Melchizedek is presented as a type or prefigurement of Jesus Christ, whose priesthood is likewise not bound by earthly lineage or temporal limits. The hidden theological meaning, a superior priesthood. The profound theological significance of Melchizedek lies in his representation of a superior, eternal priesthood that transcends the Levitical order established through Moses. The Levitical priesthood, though divinely instituted, was imperfect and temporary. It required repeated animal sacrifices because priests themselves were sinful and mortal. It was a shadow, a provisional arrangement pointing towards a greater reality. Melchizedek, however, points to an everlasting priesthood, one not dependent on human imperfection. His appearance before the Mosaic law and the Levitical priesthood underscores his unique position. He is a priest by divine appointment, not by genetic inheritance. This is crucial for the author of Hebrews, who argues that Jesus Christ, not being of the tribe of Levi but of Judah, could nonetheless be a legitimate and indeed superior high priest. Jesus' priesthood is in the order of Melchizedek, Hebrews 7:17, precisely because it is eternal, effectual, and based on his own divine nature and perfect sacrifice, not on ancestral claims or repeated offerings. The offering of bread and wine by Melchizedek also holds deep Christological significance. It foreshadows the Eucharist, the new covenant meal where Christ's body and blood are symbolically offered, representing his ultimate sacrifice for the sins of humanity. This simple meal, shared by a mysterious king-priest with the patriarch Abram, becomes a powerful prophetic echo of the final, perfect sacrifice that would establish a new and eternal covenant. Melchizedek, then, is more than just a historical figure. He is a theological bridge, connecting the promises to Abraham with their ultimate fulfillment in Christ. Controversies and competing theories. The enigmatic nature of Melchizedek has, unsurprisingly, given rise to numerous interpretations and debates throughout history. The traditional view. The most widely accepted view, particularly in Orthodox Christianity, is that Melchizedek was a historical figure, a righteous king and priest, appointed by God, who served as a prefigurement of Christ. He was a distinct individual, though his background is intentionally left obscure to highlight the unique, non-genealogical nature of his priesthood. This view aligns with the explicit interpretation in Hebrews, the Christophany theory. Some ancient and even some modern scholars have proposed that Melchizedek was a Christophany, a pre-incarnate appearance of Jesus Christ. The arguments for this include his seemingly divine attributes without father, mother, beginning, end, his title King of Righteousness and Peace, and his superior position to Abraham. If he were Christ, it would perfectly explain his unique priesthood and his significance. However, the book of Hebrews states he was resembling the Son of God, Hebrews 7:3, suggesting a similarity rather than an identity, and carefully distinguishes between Melchizedek and Christ's superior fulfillment of the Melchizedekian order. The angelic theory, a less common theory, primarily found in some Jewish apocalyptic texts and early Christian heresies, suggests Melchizedek was an angel, perhaps even the archangel Michael. This attempts to explain his mysterious nature and superior authority, but it lacks strong biblical support and contradicts the human context of the Genesis narrative. The typological interpretation. Regardless of his exact identity, nearly all scholars agree on his typological significance. He functions as a type or shadow of the ultimate reality to come in Christ. His priesthood anticipates Christ, his kingship anticipates Christ, and his offering of bread and wine anticipates the new covenant. The emphasis is less on who he was historically and more on what he represents theologically. The silence of the biblical text about his origins is purposeful, designed to magnify his unique role as a divine archetype. The enduring mystery of Melchizedek is not a flaw in the narrative, but a deliberate design choice, inviting us to look beyond the surface and ponder the deeper, eternal purposes of God. Part 3. The Eternal Echo. We began our journey in the shadows, seeking to illuminate the elusive figure of Melchizedek. We have traced his sudden appearance in Genesis, a king of righteousness and peace, a priest of the Most High God, who blessed Abraham and received his tithe. We have explored the meticulous theological arguments of the book of Hebrews, which unveils him as a profound prefigurement of Jesus Christ, a priest forever in an order superior to the Levitical. His lack of recorded genealogy, his timeless attributes, and his unique offering of bread and wine all converge to paint a picture of an eternal priesthood rooted not in human lineage but in divine appointment. Melchizedek remains a haunting echo from the dawn of sacred history, a testament to God's foresight and the timeless nature of his redemptive plan. He compels us to gaze upon the grandeur of Christ's eternal priesthood, a priesthood that knows no beginning or end, a sacrifice that is perfect and complete. What does this mysterious figure, whose origins are veiled and whose end is unrecorded, reveal to us about the God who orchestrates history, weaving patterns of prophecy and fulfillment across millennia? He reminds us that long before the law, long before the temple, God had already established a way for humanity to draw near to him through a perfect mediator. And in doing so, he beckons us to consider the boundless depth of a faith that finds its ultimate expression not in what is seen and known, but in the profound, unchanging truth of the King of righteousness and peace.